of Taiwan. I'm Ethan Liu with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Large-scale Chinese military drills are underway around Taiwan. The military is reporting more than 40 military aircraft, 15 Navy ships, and 16 Coast Guard ships, all operating around Taiwan. There are no reports of live fire. Beijing says the simulated attack is a direct response to the inauguration speech of Taiwan's new president, Lai Ching-te. Reese Ayers reports.
Surrounded on all sides, the largest Chinese military drills in over a year are taking place around Taiwan. And for the first time, a simulation of a full-scale attack. All as punishment, China says, for Taiwan's increasing efforts to pursue independence.
这也是对台独分裂势力谋独行径的有力惩戒，对外部势力干涉挑衅的严重警告。
The drills, taking place for 2 days over May 23rd and 24th, are happening all around Taiwan, smashing through the country's air defense identification zone and barely stopping short of entering Taiwan's own territorial waters, where Taiwan's Coast Guard is already encountering Chinese vessels.
你的行动将严重破坏台海区域和平、稳定及安全。如执意进入我24海里临街区，我方将采取驱离行动。
Beijing says the exercises, called the Joint Sword 2024A drills, will test their military's readiness for war. And, in another first, the drills will target Taiwan's outlying islands, including Jinmen and Matsu, just kilometers off the coast of China, important forward military posts for Taiwan. Taiwan's defense ministry is accusing China of irrational provocation.
PRC's dispatch of aircraft and vessels harassing its neighbors in recent years has threatened global peace and stability. Their military exercise is not helping with the situation around Taiwan Strait.
Taiwan's military has dispatched air, land and naval units, as well as missile defense systems. Coming just days after President Lai Ching-te took office, Beijing says the drills are a direct response to Lai's inauguration speech, which they say was extremely harmful and a complete confession of Taiwan independence.
中华民国与中华人民共和国互不隶属。
Chinese state media has called Lai the golden grandson of Taiwan independence and the biggest hidden danger that could start a cross-strait conflict. And less than a week under a new leader, Taiwan is hoping that this level of military aggression is simply reactionary and won't become the new norm. Patrick Chen, Jaime Ocon and Reese Ayers for TaiwanPlus.
President Lai Ching-te has made a visit to troops in northern Taiwan after China began its military exercises. China's drills are the biggest in about a year. Lai visited the 66th Marine Corps Brigade in Taoyuan to show support for the military and speak about the threats Taiwan faces.
此时此刻，国际社会正高度关注民主台湾，而面对外在的挑战与威胁。 我们会持续捍卫自由民主的价值，守护区域的和平稳定。
Taiwan's foreign ministry is downplaying concerns that its relations with its last diplomatic ally in Europe are in danger after the Vatican said it wanted to open a permanent office in China. Chris Goran explains.
The Vatican's ambassador to the Philippines, Archbishop Charles John Brown, with President Lai Ching-te after his inauguration on Monday. Lai says the relationship between Taiwan and its last diplomatic ally in Europe is strong.
这几年来，台湾和梵蒂冈持续透过各层级的相互访问，增进彼此的情谊。
However, on the same day, Vatican officials said they wanted to open a permanent office in China. The move would signal a massive upgrade in the historically difficult relationship between China and the Holy See. And China, for its part, expressed openness to furthering ties.
我们愿同梵方共同努力，推动中梵关系不断改善。
With relations between the Vatican and China improving, some in Taiwan have worried that they might lose yet another diplomatic ally. When Lai Ching-te's predecessor Tsai Ing-wen took office 8 years ago, Taiwan had official diplomatic relations with 22 countries. And as Lai's term begins, that number is now just 12, and the Vatican is Taiwan's sole remaining ally in Europe. But for the moment, current and former diplomatic staff say there's no need to worry.
我方了解，教廷盼促进中国天主教徒拥有信仰自由与权利，在近期台泛互动上，与教廷高层互动良好，彰显台泛邦谊深厚。
即使他设立一个办事处，离真正的要建交还是有一个相当的距离。最基本的原因就是大陆没有宗教自由，它最主要就是要让有信仰天主教的人能够过一个好的信仰生活，希望跟中共的政权
Religious freedom groups like ACN International say the prospects for improved religious freedom in China remain poor. In its relations with China, the Holy See may have to weigh the benefits of gaining access to its millions of followers there against the risks of working with a regime which aims to minimize its influence. Chris Gorin and Devin Tsai for TaiwanPlus.
Disagreements in the legislature continue to simmer, and with more votes scheduled for Friday on controversial reforms, the main opposition Kuomintang are hitting back at criticism following large protests earlier this week. So Lian Sen went to see what the party has to say.
Taiwan's main opposition party, the Kuomintang or KMT, has hit back at accusations of opaqueness in the legislature.
The biggest lie in recently situation is the legislative process is opaque. Expecting the world to play along with this charade is absurd.
Speaking to foreign press, the KMT condemned the actions of the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, or DPP, following brawls in the legislature that triggered public protests. Accusing the DPP of violence and intimidation, there were also more serious accusations from legislator Chen Qinghui, who accused a DPP legislator of sexually assaulting her in the scuffle.
This DPP harassment and abuse from the ruling party legislator has severely damaged our nation's international reputation.
She is suing the man in question, and he has apologized for any harm during the scuffle. Now, more bill readings are set for Friday, and possibly more scuffles and more protests by those who want to see the KMT's proposed bills thrown out. But the KMT has made it clear its determination to get its way in Taiwan's legislature. Kama Xu and Sally Jensen in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Newly appointed Premier Jung-tai has held his first major meetings since taking office, talking with city mayors and American diplomats. Zhuo's first meetings were in the morning with Taipei Mayor Jiang Wan'an and new Taipei Mayor Hou You-yi. He later met with Laura Rosenberger and Sandra Altkirk, the top U.S. envoys to Taiwan. The visit came just hours after China announced the military drills around Taiwan, but the cabinet said the meeting was routine. With the two city mayors, the new premier discussed urban development, electricity prices, and power supply.
第一次参加新的内阁，我们对院长跟团队有很高的期许，希望中央跟地方大家能够并肩作战，希望中央对整个能源的政策要务实可行。
Scientists in Taiwan say they have developed a way to produce electricity from soil. Maddie Anstruther has the details.
Phones, TV remotes, and smartwatches, just some of the many items that could soon be powered by soil. That's because scientists at Taiwan's top university have managed to harness electric power from microorganisms found naturally in back gardens across the globe, turning soil into the batteries of tomorrow.
它本身要生存消耗碳的时候，那把碳的化学能给释放出来。好，在释放的过程当中呢，它会释放出电子。那我们如果有效的接受这个电子的话，就会形成电池。
The system they have designed captures freed electrons, which carry a negative charge, to produce an electrical current. It is a naturally occurring reaction, meaning no additional chemicals are needed. The team hopes this means soil could make a more sustainable alternative to conventional batteries.
土壤量体很大，所以在未来的话，它其实有可以做储能的这样一个潜力。
On average, just 1 teaspoon of soil contains over 10,000 species of microorganism. But before anyone tries to charge their phone in a nearby plant pot, Not all soils are made equal.
这种泥土的属性很多种哈，那有些是有比较贫瘠的泥土，有些是比较富有有机物营养的泥土，产电的这个效率呢，可能都会有所不同。
While traditional batteries can be recycled, billions of them end up in landfill each year, 3 billion in the US alone, creating many thousands of tons of hazardous waste. What's more, they can be extremely energy intensive to make in the first place. This has generated a real interest in alternatives, such as soil, as possible solutions, though developing a technology to harness this natural chemical energy source at scale may be some way off. Howard Chang and Marianne Strother for TaiwanPlus.
62 children, including a baby, are suing the South Korean government for violating their human rights. Harrell Hughes reports on the groundbreaking climate lawsuit against Seoul.
17-month-old Choi Hee-woo, still learning to walk, is one of the world's youngest ever plaintiffs in a groundbreaking climate lawsuit. He's one of 62 children suing the government of South Korea for not effectively tackling climate change, violating their human rights. It's the first lawsuit of its kind in East Asia. Represented by his mother, Choi joined the case as an embryo, before he even had a proper name. His parents called him Woodpecker, which then became the title of the lawsuit. His mother, worried for the planet's future, decided to take legal action.
이렇게 아름다운 봄날을 다시 즐기지 못한다면 아이들한테 너무너무 미안한 일이지만 우리가 막아내지 못한다면 너무나 미안한 일이 되겠지만 어쨌든 오늘 이 순간 하루하루를 좀 소중하게 생각하고 살아가는 것이 필요할 것 같다는 생각을 합니다.
In 2021, South Korea's commitment to reduce carbon emissions was enshrined into law, setting a concrete target and establishing a framework for achieving it. 290 million tons by 2030, and net zero emissions by 2050. To hit that goal, the country needs to reduce emissions by 5.4% every year, which it has failed to do. Plaintiffs believe tackling climate change is not being taken seriously, despite a government body being created specifically to oversee its strategy.
만약에 2도가 되면 이제 그때는 어른들이 없고 남겨진 지금의 어린이들이 미래의 성인이 돼가지고 나머지 탄소를 엄청 줄여야 되고 그 고통을 견뎌야 돼서 그게 문제로 해서.
Like Choi, most of the children involved were under 5 years old when the suit was filed. Their parents taking charge to fight for their futures.
인류의 미래를 전체를 놓고 봤을 때 당연히 기후위기 상황에 우리가 생존하는 것이 더 옳다라고 그러기 위해서 정부가 더 적극적으로 노력해야 한다라고 판결을 하실 거라고 저는 믿고 있고요.
Similar lawsuits against government inaction have been filed in other parts of the world. Some have already been successful. In Colombia, the government was ordered to protect the Amazon after being sued by youth climate activists. While in the US and Norway, youth groups won lawsuits to halt fossil fuel projects. These wins give hope to the plaintiffs in South Korea in their fight for a future full of beautiful spring days. Alex Chen and Harrell Hughes for TaiwanPlus.
Billions of cicadas are emerging across southern and midwestern areas of the United States in a once-in-a-lifetime double brood event. This phenomenon is thanks to a rare overlap in the breeding season of two different populations of the insects, one on the 13-year cycle and the other on the 17-year cycle. Both groups happen to make their homes next to one another, causing noisy chaos as they emerge briefly to molt, mate, and then die. The last time these two specific broods overlapped was in 1803, and it won't happen again until the year 2245. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Finally, people in Myanmar are marking the Buddha's birthday. Thousands of devotees gathered at the Golden Pagoda to celebrate. I'm Ethan Liu. Take care, and I'll see you next time.